Alright guys, welcome back, and in this video we will be learning about structs. And structs is very important topic. I mean, now we're really starting to take the next step. We've learned about the basics, about while loops, for loops, about variables, and now we're really taking the next step. So why do we need structs? Structs are very important because sometimes you just need a new variable type. So, for example, let's imagine that you and we want to represent a person in code. Let's actually create a new project and get practical very quickly. So, create a new project, and this one we will call. Okay, there is this issue with. Sorry, guys. I mean, sometimes there is this issue with code blocks, and it just freezes. Anyway, let me close that and open code blocks once again. But anyway, the whole idea here is that sometimes you have the issue because you need a new variable type that is just not existent. You need to define your own custom variable type. So here we have our little program, once again, hello world. And let's imagine that we want to represent a person. And so we want to represent a person, and the person has a name, a person has age, person has gender. And how do we represent such a person? I mean, we could, for example, create a string that is name, and then we could create int that is age, and then we could create int that is gender. But let's say that we have 10 people in our software. So how would we do that? Well, we would need to do something like this, name 1. But let's say we have 100 different people in our program. Let's say that we for example, have a game. We have an online game. For example, imagine World of Warcraft, and each character has a name, an age, and gender. How do you represent that? Well, you can no longer use these data types that we have been speaking about up until now. You need to create your own custom data types. And this is what we're going to talk about in this section about object-oriented programming. Now, this has nothing to do with objects. This has nothing to do with classes. Yes, we will come to that, but currently we will be learning about structs. And so a struct is a simple way that you and I can define our own data type. So we do like this. We write struct, and then we need to give a name to this struct, and it is good if you define it outside the int main method. So you define it outside. So let's call this struct person, like this. And now what we need to do is that we need to tell C++ what kind of features, what kind of variables does each person hold. So as you remember, we have the name, so string name. We also have int age and string gender, like this. And that way, now we have created our first struct. And the good thing is that now I can start creating variables with type person. So this is quite new because now I can actually create person Ivan, like this. You see, I'm not using int, I'm not using string, I'm not using boolean, I'm using person as variable type, and person is our defined type right here. So I create Ivan, and then I can say Ivan.name equals Ivan, and then I can say Ivan.gender equals male, and Ivan.age equals 21, like this. And so now if I compile and run it, let's see, build and run. You see, it compiles fine, but nothing is printed to the screen. And so what we can do now is that we can create a function to print the information about a person. So for example, here we can create print person info, and this can take person as input, like this. And it will basically print the name of the person is Ivan, the name of the person is and then you have to do p.name, the gender, or actually let's do end line, and then gender and age. So age, gender, like this. And so what we can do now is that we can actually use this function print person info and supply the variable Ivan in this case and print it. Let's see what happens. Build and run. And now you see the name of the person is Ivan, age of the person is 21, the gender of the person is male. So we're able to construct, define our own variable type. We basically say that this variable type is called person, and it keeps track of the name, which is a string, age, which is an integer, and gender, which is also a string. And then you can have, for example, a function that prints it. And the good thing now is that, I mean, we can create many of these people. Like, for example, I can create a person called Josh, and Josh is, let's see, male, and Josh, and let's change the age to 26. And now I can easily print that person as well. And we can build and run. And now you see the name of the person is Ivan, the gender of person is male, the name of person is Josh, person, age, and gender. And so what you also can do is that, like with like when we had our little project with let's see, you remember we had arrays here, and we could create arrays. So I'm looking at an old project right here. We could create arrays in this fashion. We now also can create structs in this array fashion. So we can, or I mean, we can create arrays of structs. So for example, what we can do is that we can have person, people, and it is now an array, and the elements in that array are Ivan and Josh. And so for example, now what I can do is I can access the first element in people like this and get the name of the first element in people. So if I now build and run, you see that I have, oops, wrong. Let's close this. Let's go to here. Seems like we were building the wrong. Let's see, here we actually have some, oops. Let's see, build and run. Now you actually see that I'm accessing the first element in people by giving the index 0. And the index 0 will basically give me Ivan, because that is the first element in the array. And Ivan will be given to this function print person info. And print person info will basically output the information about the person. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope you are now a bit smarter and you understand this more. And I hope you understand the significance of having own data type and having own variable types. That being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video.